river. You know, there are all kind of tools available, technology. It's you know, get a weather radio, try to stay in front of that. Also, if a VHF radio that can be recharged with a 12-volt system, a solar charger or something, it's fine. Do as much research before you go as you can. Find out, because if I was going to go in the river up around St. Louis, I don't know their operating practices in St. Louis. I don't know what VHF channel they operate on. Find out what VHF channels these guys work on in the area that you're going to be. Use a GPS, know where you are, and then if you see something that coming up a mile or so ahead of you and you're not sure of, if you already know what VHF channel these guys are going to be on, you can pick it up, switch it on, call them and say, hey, I'm in a canoe, I'm at this mile in the river, and I just want to make you aware of my presence, and so on and so forth.
What's the worst situations out here for a pilot?
It would be hard to nail down the worst, but the one that makes me the most uncomfortable is if I'm moving the ship and it gets foggy. Now we typically don't get on a ship and bring it in if it's already foggy. We'll tell that ship to stay outside, and when it clears up, we'll bring it in. But it sets in all of a sudden. So when the fog in and of itself and me on a ship, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's everybody else that's out here. Just like I said, all this technology is great. Unfortunately, it makes people more bold. It makes people a little more braver than they would have been. So I'm out here on a ship in the fog, and what makes me very uncomfortable is now I'm looking at the radar, because that's my eyes, and I see a vessel in the middle of the channel coming in the opposite direction. So I immediately try to make radio contact, and they don't answer. So I slow the ship down, and I try again to make radio contact, and they don't answer. So I try a different channel on the VHF, and they don't answer. Now I'm slowing down some more, okay? And I can't see them. I'm assuming they have radar, but I have no way of knowing if they know how to use it or what scale they're on, because I'm running and I can see 3 miles ahead of me. And experience has told me that these guys in recreational boats are running on a quarter of a mile or a half-mile scale. So I'm seeing things 3 miles away, so I have time to react. And they're coming at me doing 15 to 20 miles an hour, and I don't know the math off the top of my head, but you cover a half a mile, in about actually going 20 knots, you cover a half a mile in a minute and a half. So it's and if you're coming at each other, if I'm on a ship doing 10 and they're doing 20, that's 30. Now half a mile gets all of a sudden. Now you're talking seconds. So it's
scary.
I don't know what direction they're going. Especially if they're in the middle. So I have to wait. I have to wait until the very last minute to make a maneuver to miss them. Because if I commit to altering the course of that ship that's 700, 800, 900 feet long, once I commit to going in one direction, if I want to change to the other direction, it takes a long time to stop my momentum from going that way to going the other way. So I hope they follow the rules of the road and go to their right. Because that's the way I'm going to the right, and we'll miss each other. That's what
you pass port to port here.
Traditionally we do.
That's the same on the Great Lakes.
So that's the thing that makes me the most uneasy, is I know that there's people on that boat, and we're not going to see each other. Visibly we are not going to see each other, and I can only hope that we both do the right thing and I don't hurt those people.
Do those big freighters have fog horns?
We do.
They
We blow them. We blow them, but it really. I would like to say that it makes a difference. We do it. It's required by law. In an open cabin boat, you're gonna hear it. But a lot of these crew boats are running. The crew boats now, they're running 4 big diesel engines You know, so that's creating noise. I'm not saying it's right or not. I'm not saying it's correct. It's the right thing to do. But a lot of times, guys running these things, they've got music playing, or even worse, a TV. You know, they've been offshore. They get in the river. Once they get 10, 12 miles in, now they start getting cell phone reception. So they can crank up the iPad and get on. You know, they've been offshore. They're ready to check their messages, check their emails, chat with their girlfriend, whatever. And you hope that they're watching and doing what they're doing. However, more than likely they're listening to the radio, you know, talking on the cell phone, and not looking out the window or the radar. They're looking at their chart plotter, because that makes a nice, pretty animated picture for them to show them where they are and where they're going. The only problem is it doesn't show them where everybody else is.
Right.
Well, that's what Earl just told us. That's why he's got a radar and a flatboat. Because they're coming in on GPSs and not watching.
Right, and that's what I meant by earlier when I said it makes them bold and brave. You take that GPS with the chart plotter, and it shows you, hey, look, you're right in the middle of the channel. You're in good shape, and you can, if you're the only one out here, you can make it from here to as far as your boat can float in the river. You know, staring at that GPS. But as soon as you put one other person come in the opposite direction, if they're looking at their GPS to do it, and you're looking at your GPS to do it, and you're not looking up, you're going to run right into each other.
Does that happen every year?
Fortunately, no, it doesn't. Would I say the potential's there for it to happen? Absolutely. And it's, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, you know, but we regularly steer these big ships around small boats, you know, because they're coming right up the middle of the channel, doing exactly what I just described. They're watching that GPS. They're navigating strictly with the GPS. They're looking at the 3x5 window instead of the 3 foot by 5 foot window in front of their face. And they're coming right up the middle, and you call them. And even if they do answer, sometimes they don't venture off, and you have to take a 600-foot long ship and steer around a 60-foot long crew boat.
Crazy.
Now you haven't had any trouble where the captains or the international crew doesn't want to listen to you?
It's rare. You know, this industry, you do run into a lot of egos. I mean, ship captains have always been portrayed as, you know, the big boisterous, you know, kind of Bluto character. And we do get a few of those. You know, these guys have been at sea for 30, 40 years. And if they don't understand exactly what's going on or what we're trying to do, sometimes they do want to give commands counter to what we're given. And when that happens, we've got a very narrow window in time to convince them, listen, my career's at stake too. I'm not going to, you know, purposefully put your vessel in harm's way. You know, if you know, I'm going on record now, say, you know, you tell them, I'm going on record now, so, because everything's recorded just like in an airplane now. You have taken the con of the ship, and you are putting this vessel in a bad situation. You know, and so you have to convince them of that very quickly.
Well, you are following a great tradition, long history here in this career, and I hope your children may follow you too, if they so desire.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Jeff.